Hello, and welcome to another episode of Unboxing with Paul. Today, I bring you the Motorola Z3, the third iteration in Motorola's Z series that allows you to attach mods to the back of the phone. Let's take a look at it. Before we begin, let me just be very clear with you guys that I am not unboxing this. Normally, that's what I do, unboxing with Paul. However, I have had this phone for well over 2 years, actually almost 3. And when I did receive it, it was brand new. This was one of the most beautiful unboxing experiences I have ever had. The phone came very nicely packaged in a very premium box, and it came with a USB-C to USB-A charger. It came with Motorola's 15-watt wall adapter, which was very fast for the time. And it also came with a USB-C to auxiliary dongle to allow you to plug in auxiliary cord into USB-C, as this does not have an auxiliary cord. In addition to that, it came with one of the mods, which we will be getting to that later. So this one was released in 2018, and it came with a 1080 by 2160 Super AMOLED 6-inch screen, which at the time, having a Super AMOLED was just really cool and way out of this world. The phone itself only weighs 156 grams. That is actually pretty light, but bear in mind that that's the size of it without the mods. Something that I immediately fell in love with about this phone was the fact that the power button, let's put it up closer to the camera for you to see, is on only one side. Sorry, the power button is only on one side, and it is ridged. If you guys can see that, it's a little worn out by now, but it's ridged, meaning you're not going to be getting this thing confused with a volume rocker or the volume buttons at all. And this is the thing that made me fall in love with Motorola. Well, that and a few other things. Now we can also see that we have antenna bands here on the side, as probably the Motorola mods will be interfering with the camera. Up at the top, we have our micro SD / SIM card holder that is able to accommodate up to a 256 gigabyte micro SD card. Now on the right side of the phone, we get separate volume buttons, as well as you can see 2 separate antenna bands, as well as our fingerprint scanner. Now, this is one of the very first phones to feature a fingerprint scanner on the side, and let me tell you, I was just blown away. I was like, what? How could a fingerprint scanner not only not be in the back, but how did they make it fit on the side? And is this going to be any good? Is it going to be crappy? But to my surprise, 2 years later using this, I think I've literally only registered my fingerprint once or twice. And 2 years down the line, it still unlocks like the very first day that I got it. It's just so fast. Let's go ahead and continue with the tour of the phone. At the very bottom of the phone, you guys can see that we have, again, 2 more antenna bands, followed by, well, not followed, but in the middle we have our USB-C port. Now this port is for charging, it is for data transfer, it is where you will be plugging in your dongle for that auxiliary cord. But more importantly, you know what, guys? This USB-C port is a 3.1. One of the very few phones to have anything above a 2.0 on the USB-C port, which is just amazing to me. This phone is leaps and bounds ahead of its time, but then again, it is considered a mid-range phone. Let's go ahead and continue. While we're up front, let's go ahead and check out our selfie camera, which is only an 8 megapixel camera that will allow us to shoot 1080p at 30 frames per second, so no surprise there. Now flipping it over to the back, we have a dual camera system that is a little bit curious if you ask me, because both of our lenses are actually rated at 12 megapixels. Motorola says that both of those lenses combine the image to be able to give you a better picture, especially in low light situations. I'm no engineer here, but I don't know why they would put two 12 megapixel lenses side by side, but hey, it works and that's what they did. Back here, we also have our dual tone LED. You guys can see two differently colored LEDs there for, you know, better light matching. I'm gonna say it provides warmer flash and it's able to make your pictures look better. Let's go ahead and continue with the rest of the phone. Now, something that's very curious that I didn't notice before was the amount of orifices in this phone, the like pinhole sizes, or pinhole, yeah, what I would normally call them pinhole microphones. You guys can see a tiny little dot up here. We see another tiny little dot / hole back here. And we also have two more down here, like not at the very bottom, not on the side, but rather on the face of the phone, rather on the chin of the phone, which is very curious. I'm not sure if these are microphones, because then that would mean that this phone technically has 4 microphones, but I unfortunately was not able to get any information. I looked up and down everywhere. Nobody makes any mention of the microphones, not even Motorola, and the information that I was able to find on this was fairly limited, unfortunately. The thing that is immediately going to draw your eyes is going to be that Super AMOLED display. It is just so rich, it's so deep, it's so vibrant, and even when you're outside, it still displays properly, like the images are so bright enough to be able to use in direct sunlight. But again, just that deep red color, you know, that is placed on the background to be able to complement the phone. I think this screen is just amazing. I normally play a game on my iPhone, and meanwhile, I try to play it on this phone, and I did have to turn down the quality quite a bit. Playing it on a Super AMOLED was just amazing. The colors popped. It was just such a nicer screen to look at. But rather than talk about it, why don't I just show you guys? That Super AMOLED display really brings those colors to life. It just looks so much nicer whenever you're looking at particularly nature stuff. The colors definitely pop. Probably this camera and the screen you're looking at, it may not do it justice, but it just looks so amazing to me. Like, the colors are so good on this screen. I realize this is almost a 3-year-old, basically what is a 3-year-old phone at this point. But they're just so little, like just everything just looks so good on this phone. Again, that Super AMOLED was just what sold me. Immediately when I laid my eyes upon this screen, I just fell in love. And this was like my everyday phone for the longest time. I used this phone all day long, for everyday tasks, for video viewing. I never used it for recording or for taking pictures, but it was just so good. Again, that screen it gets me every single time I look at it. It puts a smile on my face because it's just such a good phone. Anyways, let me stop fanboying, and let's go ahead and continue. We obviously heard its speakers. The speakers are, it's nothing to write home about. It's a normal average speaker. You know, it's not particularly loud like Motorola speakers normally tend to be. But that's easy to remedy. Of course, all you need to do is slap a mod back here. But we're gonna get to that in a little bit. Another one of the things that was really, really cool about this phone was that this phone featured 64 gigabytes of storage. Now, at that time, having 32 was like, oh my God, you have plenty of storage. Not only did I have the 64 gigabytes of storage, it was also coupled to 4 gigabytes of RAM, and those 4 gigabytes of RAM were used with a Snapdragon 835 processor. Now, that processor was already dated at the time that this phone came out. Those 8 cores are more than adequate, as it has 4 power cores and 4 efficiency cores, depending on your application and depending on the task at hand. Now, the 4 efficiency cores are clocked in at 1.9 gigahertz for those lighter day-to-day tasks that don't require that much processing power. And then the other power cores are clocked in at 2.35 gigahertz, quite beefy for those more power intensive, those really power hungry apps. They're definitely going to require more processing power. Now, as I mentioned before, this one does come with 64 gigabytes of storage. There was a version released with 128 gigabytes of storage and 6 gigabytes of RAM. Now, as far as communication goes, again, I feel like this phone was way, way ahead of its time. Again, when this phone was released, I believe it retailed for $479.99. And as far as communication goes, it has dual band Wi-Fi AC, it has Bluetooth 5.0, it has NFC, and don't forget the fact that our USB-C port is a USB-C 3.1. Like, holy cow, this phone was just way, way, way ahead of its time. Like, I was the happiest person in the world with this phone. Like, you guys wouldn't believe it. Like, just how ecstatic I was when this phone first came out. Let's go ahead and stop this. Yeah. And I stated earlier today, dude, this phone is more than adequate. I literally used it for all my games and it never really chugged along. So our camera, even though it is really, really good, it's unfortunately nothing to write home about. Again, you do have those dual lenses that give you such a nice image and camera quality, but again, it's nothing to write home about. But anyway, let's go ahead and, you guys already know the mandatory test that we have to do. This is what video looks and sounds like on the main camera of the Motorola Z3. It is a very nice camera with a dual lens that unfortunately doesn't really get to shine indoors. And then let's go ahead and flip our camera. Oh, yep. And I forgot, of course, that here, this has slow motion, and this was just the coolest thing to me because this is not an iPhone. That's only reserved for the flagship phones, and I believe you're able to shoot slow motion video at 120 frames per second, which isn't amazing, but it's still nice to have, right? Let's go ahead and flip over to the selfie camera, and we don't want to do slow motion selfie video, just a normal video mode. Why does your selfie camera look so bad? Photo, video. Okay, well there, that looks better. Okay, so then this is what the selfie camera looks and sounds like on the camera of the Moto Z3. It's a fairly crisp, it's a fairly good selfie. It's actually really good. For a 3-year-old Android, we're looking a little shiny. It is the end of the day, sorry about that. And it looks like it actually has a okay zoom. Wow. Okay. Wow. Holy cow. Let's zoom in on our ugly face. Ooh, that is impressive. Okay. See, dude, even years later. Okay, let's stop. Even years later down the line, this phone still manages to impress me every single time. One of the things that I did find kind of lackluster to the phone was the battery life. Unfortunately, it only comes with a 3000 milliamp hour battery. But again, I feel that all the shortcomings of the phone can technically be addressed with one mod or another. But finally, after talking so much about those famous mods, let's go ahead and finally whip them out and get into it and see what the heck I'm talking about, right? So, as stated earlier today, this is the Moto Z3, the third iteration of Motorola's Z series that should allow you to should allow you to magnetically attach mods, which are modifications to the phone that will enhance your user experience, and it'll definitely enhance the capabilities of the phone. Let me flip it over. So I'm sure you guys already noticed the back of this really nice phone. It's shiny. It's not glass, thankfully. It's polycarbonate, I'm gonna guess, because it hasn't shattered, and again, it is not glass. But you guys can see here that we have these pins that are arranged in a 4x2 formation, that these allow us to connect other mods to it. So let me show you the mods that I have for it. Now, these mods are all sold separately. Fortunately, I was able to get one of them included with my phone, you know, just right out of the box. Well, it was a separate box, but it came bundled in there. And I didn't have to get anything, you know, for the longest time. And the mod that I got with that was the Tumi Power Pack. Now, this power pack is 2200 milliamp hours, if I am not mistaken. Yep, right there, 2200 milliamp hours. And it provides, what is it, 8.2 watt hours at 1.3 amps. So it's a pretty good power pack, and it increases your battery capacity from the 3000 originally included to the phone to 5200, you know, all together. And then to put them together, you simply, literally just, you guys heard those clicks? And then that, whoosh, that's how you know you have a mod. And the moment you put it on, it'll immediately let you know Moto mod is at 100%. That's how much battery we have. And we can always Moto mod power. You can charge your phone. You can switch between default modes to keep your phone battery always at 100%, but it's obviously going to eat up the power on your mod even faster. Or you could put it on efficiency mode that will keep your phone at 80%, and the moment it drops below 80%, then it'll finally kick on. So the good thing about these mods is that they will not be a drain on your phone for the most part, meaning if your phone is completely dead and your mod is also completely dead and you plug them in both in to charge, it's going to charge the phone first and then it's going to charge the mod. Usually it'll wait till the phone is either at 80 or at 100% before it actually starts charging your mod, which is pretty good. It's pretty good at life preservation. Now, this power pack is great, and it has lasted me this whole time. I haven't really noticed any difference in performance. If you press this button here in the back, you can see that green LED that lets us know that we're at a good level. If you needed to charge it, if it was at 50%, it would light up orange, and if it was at less than 20%, if I'm not mistaken, it will light up red, meaning you will need to charge this. Now, I was able to get another one of those from the Motorola shop for fairly cheap. I believe these were on sale for, is it $59.99? These were pretty cheap even when they first came out. I think you can now find them online for only $29.99. So that's pretty cool. But the one other mod that another thing that just absolutely blew me away with this phone, and I just couldn't believe, was this. This might just look like a dirty old thing that says JBL on it, but ladies and gentlemen, when you put them together, you hear that whoosh. You know it's connected. You know it's gonna work. So this is a JBL speaker that's attached to, well, it's two little JBL speakers that are attached to the back of your phone. Now, you can download my JBL Sound Boost to be able to not only turn on the equalizer, but also turn on the direct panorama sound. Usually I set it up for metal because it has usually the mid scooped and it tends to sound pretty good, although I know it doesn't have the actual mid scoops on this one. So don't, I know, low, medium, high, I know, take it easy. Anyway, once you have the mod in there, it's just, mind you, it's not a full size JBL. It's not a big speaker. You're not gonna get this huge booming sound out of it, you know, that's gonna be good to party. But what you are gonna get is sound that is not only louder, it's clear, it's crisper, and my favorite part is that it comes with a flipping kickstand, so that you can watch movies instead of down with a built-in kickstand. And if you do mess with EQ, it really does affect the sound. It's not gimmicky. It's not just there to fool you. It really does affect the sound. And unfortunately, this one does not have auto rotate. You have to manually, oh, actually it does, but it's really finicky. That's why I turned it off. So usually you have to manually adjust it. And like I said, I never really noticed a drop in performance on this phone. The one game that I kind of was expecting to make it chug was Super Mega Champions, which I played it, and I did have to turn on the settings, and I was screen recording at the time, and you guys are gonna be able to see, and I'm gonna put, I'm gonna go ahead and put in snippets of it. The phone definitely chugged, but that was a very, very high intensive, high demanding game. It has 100 players, it's a battle royale, and I was screen recording. So there's that, and again, bear in mind, this is running an older version of Android. Unfortunately, we were not able to get updates for this phone, and I believe we're stuck in some older version of Android. Yeah, we're still stuck in Android 9.0, unfortunately, see? And we're not able to get any more updates to it. So that could be part of the reason why it's not running as well as it should. But this phone is just so good, man. Like, from the Motorola gestures, the Karate Chop flashlight, I believe you twist it twice, the camera comes up, the selfie, you can set up the selfie, just such a good phone, man. Like, I'm a little sad to see it go, honestly. I will be sending this phone away. I will be handing it off to someone else. And it was just such a good phone for the longest, man. I really am sad to see it go. It's a very, very nice phone. I wouldn't say go out of your way and get it. It's a really nice piece to have. If you're able to get it at, on sale or something, yeah, sure, why not pick it up? But don't go out of your way to grab this. This is a beautiful phone when it first came out. But unfortunately, due to this life cycle of Androids, this is not going to be getting updates. And sadly, it's just going to get worse and worse as time goes by. And it's just a shame because it's such a beautiful piece of hardware, man. Like, Super AMOLED, 64 gigs on the storage, 4 on the RAM, Snapdragon 835. Unfortunately, this never received 5G, it was never made with 5G built in. But what it was made with was the ability to connect to 5G via Verizon's network through a mod. Actually, you were able to slap on a mod here that would allow you to be able to access 5G on Verizon's network. And here, I'm trying to see if here, see, it's nothing amazing. It literally just looks like a bigger power pack with like a ridge thing at the top, which would provide 5G for your phone. Don't forget to subscribe. If there are items you'd like for me to cover, other topics you'd like for me to talk about, go ahead and let me know in the comments. I'm very, very sad to see this phone go. But as always, thanks for watching.
Moto.